So yeah, hello again. It's August the 31st. To think for a moment. Living in two different universes at once. And I'm really enjoying myself here, and just wanted to just share it in this way, because it's these three conjunctions of 2026, and I really want to expand on this a little bit. So let's first look just at the Saturn and Neptune conjunction, which is really the one big one. Happens every 36 years, yes, but it hasn't happened within a 3,000 year period in early Aries, so this is a rebirth, a recreation. As I said in my other recording, and I like to repeat it, Saturn is helping Neptune to become visible, to take on form. Neptune is all the wonderful ideas and great plans and intentions and visions, dreams, all of that, because Neptune is really the final planet of the solar system, and in that sense is a reflector of all the cosmic, universal, interstellar, which again are just synonyms for something even greater, which is beyond conception, beyond the unknowable, really. There's the known, the unknown, and the unknowable, what we do not know, what we have yet to explore and integrate. So anyway, that first degree of Aries is super powerful. Actually, I really went through the ephemeris, and yes, every 36 years Neptune and Saturn meet, and it is interesting. So this year, let me just give you a little raisin onto the cake. So every 36 years, that means 10 times in 36 years, if you want, and years are kind of equivalent with degrees of the zodiac, of the circle. So 360 is a really important number of renewal of something coming to a full. So 10 times in that period Neptune and Saturn meet, which gives you the 2 5 stars, the one which is upright, which is kind of white magic, and then there's the overlaid opposite with the point of the pentagram downward, which is the dark magic. So it is kind of, yes, that's what Neptune and Saturn in that sense are. It is a kind of a magic that we can dream physical reality into effect, into its manifestation, literally, that we don't have to go through the process of studying with the microscope and then rebuilding it from scratch, which seems to be possible. That is showing human mind's brilliance, that we have people who are endeavoring things like that, copying nature by really studying the minute detail of its design. But this works in the other way. This is really that we manifest out of nothing. That this is the sheer power of intention and of laser sharp focus on what matters. It's kind of it's not that we are doing these things, it's just as in the Toltec culture, you have to make these elemental energies, these really nature's powers in a way, in many different forms. So Castaneda, I love Castaneda, his teacher Don Juan, he lets him sit in the water, in the streaming river for hours, and he has to battle with the water spirit to not be overcome, and then these forces become your allies. You have tamed them. It's becoming a genie in the bottle. That's kind of where we're going. That's each of us has to. I guess has to is really the wrong word. Is given the opportunity to become more courageous and more of who we are meant to be, how God has designed us. Just yes, naturally with the natural respect, and but again, that's a no-brainer, because you at this point know that you are the other as much as yourself. This is just your the outer shell of who you are, of who I am. It is what makes me complete. I mean, yes, I feel like a monad in that sense, but in really appreciating and paying attention to our surrounding 360 sphere of reality on all its levels, noise and light and movement and whatnot, all the commotion. This is all also me. It is just my, when I look into mirrors, that's what I see. And if we come to this place, then it's a natural, it's a no-brainer that we have to give each other lots of space. We are each extremely unique and different. I guess this is the age of individuality. That's that whole Aquarian thing of colorfulness and richness in expression, very artistic, particularly now with Uranus in Gemini. This is the flowering of human mind in a very, very positive direction. I mean, there is this trine, I haven't even mentioned that, from Pluto in the first degrees of Aquarius, the 120 degree angle from Aquarius down here, if you want to see it that way, and Gemini up here. So these are both air signs, and Pluto is the one kind of cheering up that Uranus in the first degree of Gemini. And there is an interesting thing about Uranus and Pluto. Yeah, I guess I said it wrongly before. I mean Uranus and Pluto. Uranus, first degree of Gemini, playfulness, the juggler, playing with millions of ideas, and then Pluto in the first degrees of Aquarius, really having that desire for change, there's a deep thirst for evolution. I mean, if you think back, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was in the time roughly between 1775 and 1790, which was an extremely tumultuous and rebellious phase. It actually was the first time when individualism truly broke through. Before that, we were much more kind of just as a collective, but that was the time of individualism, probably born around the Renaissance. I would even say in the 14th, 15th, 16th century, when all of a sudden that artistic endeavor became so important, particularly in Italy and mid-Europe, with all the wonderful paintings and the music, you name it. That was really a peak of human evolution which was reached at that time, and that is again repeating also in our present times, as this is now, you won't believe, this is a Aries rhythm. Aries last time was in Aries in that phase of Renaissance, I guess roughly I would say 1480 till 1600, somewhere. It's a 120-year phase. Aries, yeah, the shit disturber, I would call her. I mean, she is really kicking the bucket if something is not in order. Bring it to the surface, play it out in the open, be the provocateur, but there is the deep intent of improving upon things. So anyway, yes, Aries, that's the 120 years in Aries. Interesting, yeah. Aries, A-R-I-E-S, Aries, E-R-I-S. So Aries has a very elliptical orbit. That means on one side, it is when it's very close to the sun, it moves very fast, and when it's on the far side, it kind of moves. Yeah, you don't see my finger here. I'm out of the screen. Sorry, I'm not used to the small screen, but I guess you get the picture. So yes, Aries. I have to just find my way back to my train of thought. So we are speaking of Aries orbit, very elliptical. Means it's very slow here, very fast here, from our perception. So Aries is in that area where it's very slow, and it's for 120 years out of his 550 plus years. So that is 2/5 of the total time it takes to once go around the sun. 2/5, 40% are spent in the sign Aries. So this is a very interesting way these two energies are helping one another, because Aries, the fire sign of setting the spark, it's that straw fire, that initial ignition of fire in itself. Very archaic, very powerful sign. It's what a child is in his first 7 years is truly the sign Aries. Just me, and I do what I need and have to do, and you guys are helping me and supporting me. That is a natural, that is a given, that is the Aries energy. So Aries really is feeling at home in this fire sign, being able to go that radical route of opening the closets and letting the skeletons out and dealing with them and taking care, and knowing that this is a necessary process, particularly now as Chiron is conjuncting Aries. As I said, one of these three important conjunctions, which all are linked with each other. See, maybe you can follow me if I say Pluto is down here at the beginning of Aquarius, Uranus up here at the beginning of Gemini, then in the middle, in the center of the two, in the first degree of Aries, is Saturn and Neptune. And now, okay, so Saturn and Neptune also is 60 degrees away from Uranus and Saturn there. And the conjunction of Aries and Chiron are at around 25, 26 degrees, which is again 25 degrees away from the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the first degree of Aries, 25 degrees roughly, and then 35 degrees to Uranus and Saturn in the first degree of Gemini. So it's 25 versus 35, which is a 5-to-7 proportion. There's a deep harmonic in there, even in the slightly smallest detail. That's the beautiful thing. It's a world of fractals. When you discover a pattern, a good pattern at the one level of frequency, or let's say at one way of experiencing frequency, then if you change your focus, you will have the same experience but in a different nuance and with a different flavor, but the basic energy will stay the same. That's what I mean. So that 5 to 7 resonance between Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Chiron, Aries, it's like of a breaking something open, a breaking through a dam. It is the sign of that collective change which is in the making. It's the wave which is now pulling out, as all these 3 pairs of planets had their yearly closest approach already. So that was kind of the first wave, if you want. But they were not coming to conjunction fully. It's really quite magical. Again, Saturn came up to 12 minutes of arc to Neptune before retreating. And I guess Uranus came up to something like half a degree of arc, also very, very close, not conjuncting with Saturn yet, coming to a halt, coming to its maximum, its greatest advance in the zodiac, so to say, its peak point from where it first has to go back into the valley to catch up with what was missed, as maybe the process was a little bit too fast. It's kind of that waving pattern, 2 steps ahead, 1 step back, which is the process of integration in a way. So you see, it is a magical combination. So we have this 60 degrees up here between Saturn, Neptune, Chiron and Aries, both in the sign Aries, the first degrees, and about 25, 26 the other 2. So 4 planets already in the sign Aries, and then the 2 others in Gemini, the first degree Gemini, which is the sign of discovery. I guess that's what Rudyard names this whole 15 degree sequence, first 15 degrees of Gemini discovery. It is really that is when the child's eyes grow wide and you see things, experience things which you have not even dreamt of. It is a world full of colors. Gemini is the butterfly hopping from one flower to the next. It is a really rich world of ideas, and there is a polarity in it too. And there's playfulness. It's one of the most quicksilvery energy of the whole zodiac. I mean, all the air signs are kind of, but the Gemini energy is particularly so, also naturally because it is a mutual sign. It is one of the 4 last season signs, which are all kind of melting pots in their own ways. And it is the sign where the sun is climbing ever higher into the sky. It's kind of going to extremes. I love Gemini. I definitely have it in an important place in my chart on my 7th house cusp. Anyway, but then last but not least, I mean, it is a magical combination of energies, of planetary positions. Then we have 120 degrees down here, we have Pluto really being the audience in a way, the ones clapping and the ones which are cheering on that fire and air to really blaze, make that fire ever go wilder, give it that nourishment from deep down. And I mean, Pluto is I would say dispassionate in a way, which makes no sense if I say it that way. Yes, there's lots of passion, lots and lots of passion in Pluto, but it also has this side of not taking sides, just allowing the play of polarities to play themselves out, to let themselves go to extremes. And there is a force in Pluto which gives it that objective perspective, because the gravitational center of Pluto and Charon together, their mutual center is in space. It is, I mean, with Earth and the Moon, that is a little bit away from Earth's core. That is where the barycenter is, the gravitational center point of the system, Moon and planet together. Pluto and Charon, Pluto about 2,000 miles in diameter, Charon about half of that, or whatever kilometers, miles, somewhere 1,000, 2,000, and they rotate around each other. They're locked into each other. They always see each other in the same place in the sky in a way, but because of their mutual rotation, which is roughly 7 days, which is an interesting, again, coincidence if you want, maybe shows the deep power of the 7. It's actually 6.9 to be exact. Every 6.9 days Pluto and Charon are completing a full rotation in reference to the Sun, if you want, because all these observations need are defined by the position they are seen from, which brings in that concept that there's no objective reality. It's always subjective from that perspective, that angle you are looking at it is always subjective. Okay, that's another big one. But anyway, I'm super excited. I have been really holding back with recording for a while because I was kind of overwhelmed by where to start, what to say, because whichever chart you're looking at now is positive. It's mind-blowing. A few years ago, astrology has been much more depressing. I always had to kind of suck a little bit the best out of my fingers of what I could see in the stars and try to be encouraging and holding hands kind of thing, because it was a difficult time. It was a very difficult time. We had to come to our power, and that is just about now coming to its full manifestation, its full development. It has been like the bridge is coming to hold, and we can move over it in big amounts. It will be a literal opening which is created where naturally many consciousnesses will flow towards. So it is an amazing experience we are going into. I mean, I'm a Pisces. Maybe I have that strong vision of what is possible already in myself, as Neptune has been the sign. Neptune has been in Pisces for the last 15 years or so. So I have really connected with that energy a lot and contemplated on it. So it is truly magical what is possible, and the simple trick is to go within, to connect with your body, to take time, at least 20 minutes every day, to just be with yourself. No scrolling, no doing anything, no talking, just being with yourself and feeling your body, connecting with your breath if you remember, and just be. And that in itself will kind of, like the sediments are settling within your lake, the water becomes more clear. Anyway, that's the recipe, and then all the rest will follow as the beautiful Sufi saying, if you go one step towards God, God is coming 999 steps your way. I want to leave you with this. Love you all. Bye bye.